Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. This is your homegirl, Arabia Barbosa 914, which is a county, New York. And a lot of people ask me certain questions, and I'm going to answer the question. But before I do anything, I want to thank my support team. I want to thank those that are subscribed to this channel, those that support this channel. Whether I agree with what has happened in the past or not, this is Arabia Barbosa 914, Westchester County, New York. And I want to say happy birthday to the Empress Lonnie One Love. What's today? Your birthday? You're 42 years old. Happy birthday, Lonnie. And may you have many, many more. And I did watch some of your videos yesterday. I see that you're chilling out with your people, your family, and that's good to see. That's good to see. May God continue to bless you. Okay. Yeah. The other day someone asked me and they said, Arabia, who named you Arabia? And it was my father. My father named me Arabia. He did not want me to bear a white woman's name. It's bad enough that the last name is a European. The last name, Barbosa, comes from the surname of the Portuguese. Because when my great grandfather was in Northwest Africa, and he was living in the Cape Verde Islands. It's 10 little islands there in Northwest Africa. I think I've explained this story before. And he came to America. But before he came to America, he had to leave the Cape Verde Islands and go back to where his father came from. And his father did come from Portugal. I'm related to the Barbosas. I'm related to the Textoras. I'm related to the Rodriguez. I'm related to the Sanchez that comes from those islands. Cape Verde, Northwest Africa. Shout out to the chat. I was born March the 18th, 1973. I was born 5 o'clock in the morning. I believe it was 5:40 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. I weighed 5 pounds. Me and my mother, we remained in the hospital after she gave birth to me for 3 days, because back then that was what women did. They stayed in the hospital for 3 days. And then after the 3 days, the mother and the child, they are released, and we come back home to wherever home is at. And at that time, we lived in the projects of New Rochelle, right there on New Rochelle Avenue. That we lived in the New Rochelle projects. A shout out to the chat. We lived there with my father. My mother was a member of the Nation of Islam. She joined in 1968. She left in 1974. She left in 1974. And she said the reason why she left is because the Nation of Islam did not offer women any other kind of positions in the mosque but being mothers and wives. And she felt that there was more that the women could do for the Nation of Islam. They've done it before when Elijah Muhammad first started preaching and teaching his followers who are Nation of Islam members, the women mostly did a lot of work. His wife, Sister Clara Muhammad, she did a lot of work to keep the Nation of Islam together while Elijah sat in someone's prison, while they accused him of being a draft dodger. How can a 42-year-old man be a draft dodger? They wanted him to fight during the war. He was not going to participate in that, and I don't blame him. He had every right not to fight in the war. My grandfather, Grandpa Smith, he fought in World War II. He was a Navy man, and look how the country treated him. When he came back home, he couldn't get a regular job, just like anybody else. He lived in New York with my grandmother and them. He worked for the city for a little while, but they didn't get a whole lot of pay back then. They wasn't treated with respect and dignity back then. My grandfather was an alcoholic. He was very abusive towards my grandmother and my father and my uncle and my aunts. Shout out to the chat. But yes, my father named me Arabia. When my mother was in the hospital with me, and it said, well, what are you going to name the baby? This is what they asked when she gave birth to me. And she said, I want her name to be Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia. They said they didn't know how to spell Saudi. See, them crackers even back then were racist. They told her that. They said, well, we don't know how to spell Saudi. She said, you know how to spell Arabia, don't you? So she spelled it for them. And you know, those crackers told her, why don't you give her a regular sounding name like Sarah or Elizabeth or Mary? You know what my mother told them? She said, I can't leave this hospital with a baby name with those English sounding names. It's bad enough the last name is gonna be European, but the first name has to be something else. And so she was able to get my name printed on my birth certificate, Arabia. It's actually supposed to be Saudi Arabia. Some people say, well, Arabia, you know, you're a part of the LGBTQ community. Yes, I've been a part of the LGBTQ community for a long period of time, many, many years now. Just because of what my first name is doesn't mean anything. I wasn't raised under the guise of the Nation of Islam. I have sympathy for them. I believe that they have a right to exist. Yes, I do. A lot of people say, well, Arabia, when you was younger, maybe you should have joined the Nation of Islam. Join a religion for what? Join another religion for what? That's what's wrong with black people in this country. You join too many religions. You become a part of too many cults. We got too many followers already. I'm not following a religion. I'll keep my first name, but I'm not following nobody's religion, and I'm not changing my mind about who the fuck I am, because I am not an MGT, Nation of Islam woman. I will never be that. I never wanted the title MGT. I never wanted to wear those robes. I never wanted to read about the Quran. I never wanted to pray five times a day. I never wanted to eat one meal a day, and I don't submit to men. Not at all. There's no need for me to do that unless I'm in a relationship. Even then, it's hard for me to do that. So I know that certain things are just not going to happen. But I am who I am, and I am who I will always be. If I was to get up right now and say, let me go ahead and get my sex change, let me stop being a female totally, physically, and go get my sex change. That's the only time I would change my first name. If I was to change from being female to male, I would immediately say that first name needs to go. I would name myself Raymond or Anthony or some other male sounding name. If I was going to do that, but I'm not interested in doing that. But I just want to give a complete shout out to everyone. I want to shout out Vince, the sniper, for having me on when he was live earlier. I want to thank Brown Skin Lady for having me on her panel earlier this week. I know I was drunk as hell, but I want to thank everyone that supports this channel, that supported my biggest channel that I've ever had. That 600 subscribers channel I don't use anymore. I'm just more interested in using this channel. I'm on this channel. Why not use it? Why not use my voice to speak about what I think about? And this country, we're in a lot of trouble. We got an election coming up. This country is in a lot of trouble. If we can't solve, and I don't mean it, we're going to need more than 4 years to solve the ills of this country, to solve the problems of this country. And we're going to need more than 4 years. But by the time everything do work out or get solved or whatever the case may be, my generation of people, we probably won't be here to enjoy the fruits of the labor. By the time things really get like the way it needs to get, I'll be already in my 70s. But right now, I'm looking to have another birthday. Right now, I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 in March. I'm getting older, not younger. Shout out to the chat. But I'm not going to be up here that long. I just wanted to come up here for a little while and speak my truth. For those of you that are not here, because I know it's early in the morning, for those that are not here, we'll catch the playback. And I hope that you will hit the like button and share the video. I'm going to share this video onto my other social media platforms. You know what I mean? Because I'm in other social media platforms. All over social media. Not, and even that has changed. But it's cool. It's cool. You can only do but so much. And no, my father was not he was not a member of the Nation of Islam. I believe my father wanted to be a part of the Nation of Islam, but every time he wrote his letter to become registered with them, they would reject his letter. See, there's a letter that you have to write to get membership in, and it has to be written exactly as they show it to you to write. And he never got his letter right. My mother got her letter right. I don't know how that how that is possible, because my mother never had a a decent amount of education, not back then. And I doubt very seriously now. Uh, my mother was a street person. She was a booster. She was someone that was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Um, she was a member of the Nation of Islam. She's no longer a member. She is a chanting Buddhist now. She's one of those women that go that Nam Yo Renkeke. Yo, I don't believe in that religion neither. I'm just not a religious bitch. I just don't believe in any type of religion because I believe religion basically is just a, a bottle of vitamins for Black people in this country. It's not a healing concept. It doesn't heal our communities. It doesn't heal our families. Just to be involved with the church, whether it be Roman Catholic or Protestant, whether you are Muslim or you're Jewish, whether you're a Santeria or voodoo practitioner, I support certain groups. You know, I have sympathy for certain religious groups, but I myself am not religious. I was raised in the church. I no longer believe in the church or their concepts because these concepts are empty to Black people in this country. And I believe that religion is being used for some people to leave their life ills behind or whatever the case may be. I watch my grandmother. My grandmother is a Jehovah's Witness. And she uses her religion to not do certain things, to not participate. Because like I said, she was married to my grandfather for years, 33 years. During that time period, he was very abusive towards her and towards my father. My father, I believe, he became the black sheep of the family. He was always targeted when he was a small child. And I think that stuff stuck with my father all the way until the day he died. You know what I mean? And he didn't raise me. He didn't raise me at all. Me and my brother, we were separated from our father. We were separated from my grandmother. We were separated from my mother because, of course, we was ushered into the foster care system of New York State. We remained there for 10 years. The family that we lived with, they ended up adopting us. And even then, it wasn't a good match. You know what I mean? And I remember that these people used to go to church and all that. And me, I really believe a lot of black families practice what used to be practiced during the old days of slavery. I believe that there's a slave community that is still in existence in America, and it needs to die. It needs to be wiped away. The pain of the Jim Crow laws need to be wiped away and healed, but the government is more concerned with providing illegal immigrants with certain benefits, and they want to deny everyday working American people the same rights and the same benefits. And I think that's fucked up. I blame the Democrats and I blame the Republicans. Shout out to the chat. And that's just my opinion. That's my feeling on it. And I'm up. It's early this morning. I gotta rise up in a few, and tend to my day and be prepared for tomorrow. So it is what it is. I'm out of here. Y'all have an awesome day. Once again, Empress Lonnie One Love, enjoy your birthday. Enjoy your birthday.